as we mentioned, there are plenty of stocks reporting, including our stock of the day. It is Goodman Group returning to growth with statutory profit coming in at $1.67 billion compared with a loss of 98.9 in the previous financial year. The Global Logistics and Property Group targeting 9% earnings growth in FY26 after posting a 13% increase in FY25 operating profit to $2.31 billion. Total assets under management rising 9% to $85.6 billion. Goodman will pay a 30-cent distribution per security, targeting a further 9% operating earnings per share growth in FY26. Net tangible assets per security up 25% to $11.03. Gearing falling to 4.3% and liquidity at $6.6 billion. Shares are down today off the back of those results. Mark, what did you think?
Quality company. I'm pretty surprised it's pulled back, to be honest. Look, it was up early, and overall, obviously, returned to profitability. They were massively oversubscribed at a cap raise at $37 earlier in the year, and then we led straight into that April Liberation Day fall, and it really hasn't recovered. It was one of the first stocks we bought on that in that Liberation Day dip. We sort of got around the $27, $28 mark or thereabouts, and look, to be honest, I'm surprised at the price action today. Overall, data center space is super hot. I think this month or it's next month, construction of data centers in the US will outpace construction of offices in the US now.
Goodness.
Which is just absolutely huge, it's a really good passive way to get involved in the data center space because I mean they're global for a start, but they also have the normal businesses, and then they have a really passive, almost like passive lead flow because they've already got customers that they're going to need data centers. Well, why wouldn't they stay with Goodman? So there's an interesting metric that Citigroup uses, and they monitor their hiring. And apparently they're hiring, and usually that if their hiring is high globally, then they usually have a very good 12-month period after, and their hiring at the moment is through the roof. So I think this is pretty good value. We'll be looking to probably we trend I think around about the $34 mark. We bought quite a bit back in April. We're looking for a dip again in September, October. So this will be in the top 5 things on our list, particularly just around that thematic of the data centers. Because as AI hyperscales, that's your most reliable bet realistically.
Yep.
Because I think that's where the rapid expansion is going to be over the next sort of 12 to 24 months. And but look, I call it a hold here at the moment.
But looking to buy because you're expecting overall the market's going to drop in the next 12 months.
And I'll be pretty similar on most of these, I suppose.
Yeah, all right. Howard, in fact, to Mark's point, in fact, I caught up with Stockland yesterday, and guess what they're doing now?
Going into data centers, building for data centers.
Yeah.
Well, that's usually the sign that a boom's coming to an end, is when everybody piles into it. So, I've been around a long time, and I remember when the very first computer I got in my business had 20 megabytes of storage. It ran at 2 megahertz, and it was bigger than an office filing cabinet, a large office filing cabinet, the 2-door filing cabinets. Now, a little thing that size is gigabytes. And the same thing is going to happen with data centers. So you manufacture all these things to go in data centers. You've got to build enormous data centers to put them in. And every 2 years, the amount of stuff that can fit in will probably be half the size. So you'll be able to fit twice the capacity in. So at some point, we're going to land up with an oversupply of space in data centers. Having said that, if you're going to be in this kind of a area that you're interested in, I would think Goodman Group's probably about the best you can be in. I mean, a terrific company, very well run. Greg Goodman, personally involved, lots of shares in his own name, so he's got plenty of skin in the game. So a lot of our members are very enthused about it. Other members, and I'm one in the second group, while enthused, say we don't really understand property well enough. So some of our members, probably 300 of our 600, about half, understand property well. They're enthused about Goodman. The others are a bit reticent because they say, I can understand other businesses better than I can understand property, and I'd rather invest where I understand. And that's my problem with Goodman Group, because with writing up the value of properties and writing down the value of properties, you've really got to put a lot of work into understanding this business. And it's not the kind of thing I have an instant ability for, so I've passed. But from a Teaminvest point of view, I think you'd find most of the members would say it's a buy.
Oh, I'm calling it a buy then, am I?
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I don't understand it well enough to personally call it a buy.
Yep.
But
Fair enough.
from Moore's Law's perspective, which is the incremental increase in compute power, etc., smaller doesn't mean less space. It just means that we take up more capacity,
Yeah.
and that's been the case for 50 years straight. So that's not really. They will fill it basically. At the end of the day.
Fitting in there is much more than used to be in this entire room that we had to have air conditioned, humidified, and at the right temperature, and took about 4 people to pick it up and carry it. So,
Well, they said at the end of the 70s, IBM said there might be 1,800 computers worldwide. So, it tends to grow with the capacity.
All right, well, that's the view then on our stock of the day, which is Goodman Group. In fact, we're going to way back into that space shortly.